Okay, Dan Olds here. We have another edition of the Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. And this is a special show because we're revealing results from the HPC Crash Course. How you doing, Henry?
Doing great this morning, Dan. And you?
Well, I'm doing okay. And yeah, if everybody doesn't know, it's Henry Newman, HPC legend, who has joined us on many of these before. So let's talk about what the kids did.
Well, Dan, I first want to compliment you on doing this and going, looking for people that need to join our community and bringing people up. I think this is a great opportunity for the students, and it's great that you and the sponsors put this together.
Well, thank you, Henry. You did that pretty much as I wrote it out for you. Good.
Exactly. Yeah, word for
Mhm.
word. I memorized. I spent days memorizing that.
Nicely done. Um, so this last week, well, first of all, let me explain what happened is we had a scheduling mix up, my fault. Usually NASA would be in this slot. So I had to find something for them to do. Could have given them the week off, sure. No, no, no. I mean, could have said just go out and do some independent reading and have a nice time. No, 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 no. Instead, um, I had found a whole bunch of HPC training, and that's going to be for future competitions. Went out and sort of tasked them with living and learning it. About 60 and a half hours of video done by the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center's John Urbanek, and said, hey, there's your week, and split it up. Let some team members take parts of it, others take the other part, and bring it all together, learn from each other, and then be tested on it. And you saw some of it, Henry. You went out
I
and
thought it
looked.
was. I thought it was in quite. I was shocked how impressive it was.
Yeah, yeah, and
I mean, the
the
amount of effort to do that, both the putting the in material together and gathering the material and what's important, and then the visualization of it and the delivery.
yeah.
PSC deserves a definite,
Oh,
big,
oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
round
And
of applause.
they did. The thing that was really nice about it, I asked the students about it on the exam, towards the end of it. They really liked that it was one person taking them all the way through it from A to Z, that it wasn't the alternative would be to have 40 or 50 different takes on open MPI, MPI or open MP, MPI, open ACC, and what strong scaling is, weak scaling. You can find stuff out there that does that. Different people, different perspectives. This is one and a very solid one.
Well,
So,
and it's not a single person's perspective. It covers the gambit from
yes,
the applications to the system administrator and the system designer. So it
yeah,
is a comprehensive look at HPC.
yes. And it's done with the fact that it's going to be a comprehensive look. It's not like going out and buying a bunch of short stories and then adding them up and saying, "Hey, here's a book."
It
So,
was it was
all
very well
good.
conceived and
Yes.
extremely well implemented.
And actually after the exam, again at the end, but the students by a large majority thought so too, in terms of how useful it was going to be. Because what I'm thinking too is that this gave them the nomenclature of HPC as well, so that when they hear words and terms, they'll have heard them before. It won't be the first time. Um, so they did all that stuff. And again, what could be more fun to a student these days than to say, hey, you get to watch a whole bunch of YouTube? You're doing it
And,
anyway. This is just
well,
different.
YouTube and take a test. What couldn't they
Mhm.
like about that?
I mean, yeah, if I told their junior high or high school selves that, hey, you're going to get to watch a lot of videos on the web, and then all you're going to be tested on that stuff, they'd be going, yeah, let me at it. That's great. That's all I'm doing now anyway. And you can test me on that stuff. Sure. Yeah. Uh, then the exam, which was harder to put together than I thought. because
we talked about
we
it a
did,
bunch.
yeah, we talked it through. Um, and then figuring out how the scoring weights would be and all that kind of stuff. Here's an example question, for instance, kind of an easy one. Roughly how fast have processor clock rates risen over the past couple of decades? And this is pretty clear in the material that he's like, yeah, they haven't. Nope, 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 nope. But I put in some nicely precise, about 5% per year on average. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they haven't risen. That's one of the problems. Um, then essay questions, which I used to hate as a test taker, but then I got a lot better at them, realizing that you can throw in the kitchen sink and catch enough points to make it worthwhile. I put character limits on them. Though I did have an economics professor once, and we were reading from his book, Urban Economics. He was good. He was really good. But he would put a test together, and it would be, you don't need more than 4 words for this answer. I'm going to give you 5 maximum with some hard question. He would do stuff like that. That would just, and you can go ahead and take it with your friends. So what? And so we're like, what 4 words? Huh? How? Huh? I did not go that hard. So key stuff though is the difference between OpenMPI, MPI, OpenMP, MPI, and OpenACC. Sure, that's reasonable. What's bisectional bandwidth? Well, you need to know that stuff. Sure. And then just a short essay on key characteristics of HPC networks, bandwidth, latency, topology. Mostly, that's it. Good, easy enough stuff. Then got a little tricky. Couldn't resist. And for instance, on the question on top, which of the following are true, pretty much most of those are false. But they sound truish. They sound authoritarian.
So, Dan, basically, you're getting even for your professors in college on these poor, innocent students, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
All
yes.
right. Just to get right to the point.
Yeah. And then what we used to call in grad school something close to a slaughterhouse multiple choice question, where they're all almost identical. And most are plausible, but only one is right given the material that they went through. And what I'm not showing, I even did a couple of, A and B above are correct, B and C, D only, C only, all the above, none of the above. Yeah, those are brutal. Then we finished up with some strong scaling versus weak scaling.
Well, let's look at the results of how they did.
Let's get there. Well, in general, pretty good. Pretty good. We had 12 teams turned it in and completed it. And of those 12 teams, 5 had point totals above 95%. Pretty good. And 8 of the 12 were above 90. Again, good. But there's a time element to this test too. Not going to give them, 16 hours to take a test. They had a slot where they could, once they started their clock, that kept counting until they finished it up. And some of the teams planned this out pretty well because they had the test the morning the test period started, but the clock didn't start until they hit start exam on their screens. And quickest time was under 3 minutes. 2 teams were like 2 minutes and change.
So they know how to cut and paste fast.
Well, yes, that's what they did. Is they obviously got together and collaborated on what they thought were the very best answers, and then they had their best person on the keyboard put that stuff in, and they did a great job on that. So, are we ready to look at the big board, Henry, and see what was what?
I'd love to.
Here we go. Okay. Team Black Panther in flux right now. They've gone from 2 teams to 1. There's been a mix there, but they're getting their act back together, and we can expect to see them coming in on the rest of the challenges. Florida A&M got on the board. That's good. Good to see the Texas El Paso Gladiators up there, UC Santa Cruz. I was expecting a little bit higher from UC Santa Cruz. Must have been some stuff going on. Maybe they had a homecoming dance. I don't know, Henry. What do I know?
Yeah,
What do we
me either,
know?
Dan. Yeah, we
Just
don't
gonna
know.
I'll start making up events and saying, well, they had their gladiola parade, and that always takes up a lot of time. Let's see how the middle of the board looked. Okay, the scores start climbing. We see UC Riverside, brand new team, impressive brand new team, throwing our first 90 out there, just a little bit behind. Boy, 1/100th of a point behind Fayetteville State Bronco 2. We're going up a bit more with the next Channel Islands team, Nautical Processing. We see your New Mexico Lobos in there at 92, Henry.
Yeah.
And Fayetteville Bookend at 94. So good results there. And these were time adjusted, but not a lot. The time was not as big a factor as they might have believed. Sue, top 3. That's who we have left. Here we go. Whoa. Wrong way. There's the top 3. We've got the Roadrunners, we've got the Matadors, and take a look at how close the Matadors and Red Raiders are.
I mean, that I assume is not a question. They're so close. That's a time function.
It is, and it's that the Red Raiders pretty much aced all of the questions. They were maybe half a point off of max, but they were a little bit slower than the Matadors who
aced the entire thing too, and they just did it just a few seconds faster, would be my guess.
Yeah, and actually the Lobos were number 1 in terms of time. They were the absolute fastest.
Oh, really?
Yes, but they missed some questions.
Okay.
And some of the teams farther down missed some points on the essay questions, which under your advice were much more heavily weighted
yes.
than the multiple choicey easy kind of things.
Right. And
you're right.
It's about thinking.
Yeah.
And understanding concepts. So that's why I thought it was more important.
And you were right.
And by the way, the teams are welcome to yell at me rather than you, just to let everybody know about the point.
I'll route that stuff through you. Good idea. Good idea. Okay, so that's how they did on the test, but we've also had LIMPAC and HPCG so far. Let's see how it all adds up. See if some slots changed. You ready?
I'm ready.
There's the big board. And man, there are 300 points maximum that could have been awarded by now. And the Texas Tech Red Raiders have 299.72 of them.
That's incredible.
That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
It's better than you and I could have done, and if we were them.
Yeah.
Way better.
And the Roadrunners, they're right there. I mean, that's fine. In fact, with
half the points left, right?
More than half. Yeah. 400 points left. Really, anybody can get into this.
Yes.
But damn, Texas Tech. Now, I know that their coach, when he sees this, who is a former competitor, is going to ask the Red Raiders, so where were you weak? seems like you could have run the board, but yeah, gosh. We also have the Channel Islands teams are neck and neck. That's third and fourth. Santa Cruz, typically, like they do, they're up there and they're in striking distance. And Fayetteville, first time with two teams, both of them doing fine, doing good. They bracketed the Matadors. So all looking good.
So
And
it's a competitive environment.
it is.
People can't let their guard down, and that's true in life.
But we see big changes in this competition every year. We haven't had anybody lead from post to post before. Something always happens. Some team makes a breakthrough and leaps to the front. A front runner or two stumble. We've seen this happen before.
But there, you've seen it happen before, but you
Yeah.
don't have enough data points
No,
to know it always happens. Nope.
And another thing, we haven't had a repeat champion yet either. That's what the Red Raiders are going for. They won last year. So let's see if they can do it. But what's going to play a big role in that is what they're doing next week. This is big, very big. You've heard of Oak Ridge National Lab, right, Henry?
The home of the exascale supercomputer, Dan?
Why, yes, that one. They've put together the boldest, the most advanced challenge that's ever been in any student cluster competition. Quantum computing. Not just running quantum simulators, which is what they're going to be doing, though, on a piece of Frontier, but then actually running on an IQM quantum system.
Wow. You know what? Oak Ridge deserves just like the sponsors, a round of applause on this, because this is a huge thing for any student in the United States today. They're going to need this in their future. You and I might not need it, but they're going to need it.
Yes. And as I've been telling the students in helping to prep them for this whole challenge alone is resume worthy.
Right.
This whole thing, the rest of it is too, but this alone, big. And we're, of course, going to be all over this. We're going to have analysis of the task from both our expert and also from the Oak Ridge folks, talking to them in their mentor interview. We're going to reveal the scores. Your
expert and you were talking later this week, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did find out that it looks like really early that I know that at least 10 teams got a lot of work done on this.
Good for them, and good for the people who probably have trouble competing, getting back in the game. It's good. This is a huge learning opportunity.
It really is. And so we're going to be really looking forward to that. I was at
NMSU yesterday, and the only people working in quantum are graduate students. So all these undergrads are getting exposure is a big deal, at least my experience.
And they're working on quantum probably independently for the most part, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's not like you've got quantum professors all over the world.
Well, we have a few down here.
Okay. Well, I can. New Mexico, I can see that. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Keep up on all the Winter Classic news with our media partner, HPC Wire. We've got a website out there. Henry, you've been on the web before.
No, I vaguely remember doing something, but not recently.
Yeah. And of course, on all of our social media stuff. Hey, come on, give us a follow, right? That's easy enough to do. You're not doing anything else. Come on, you got nothing better to do. So follow us and stay tuned. We're only getting started. There we